Hello everyone, my name is Melissa and I am a senior at Antioch University in their Environmental Science and Sustainability program, and today I'd like to talk to you about the ocean. The ocean is a pretty hot topic lately, and for good reason too. The health of the ocean is currently under threat, and that means when the ocean's health is under threat, ours is too. So why is the ocean so important anyway? Good question. For starters, the ocean provides half of the world's oxygen, and it also helps regulate climate and weather patterns as well. The ocean is a food source for people all over the world, and it also helps provide ingredients for things that you might not even think of, such as peanut butter and soy milk. In the US, ocean-related businesses employ up to 3 million people. That's in a $282 billion industry. So you might be wondering now, if the ocean is such a valuable asset, how is it still so threatened? The answer is climate change and other human activities. Two major factors include plastic pollution and the amount of carbon that's being captured by the ocean every single day. You've probably seen the video where the sea turtle has a straw stuck up its nose. That only scratches the surface of how truly terrifying the plastic pollution problem is in our ocean today. Plastic pollutes throughout its entire life cycle, starting from the time when it's created, when it's creating greenhouse gases, all the way through the end of its life where it breaks down into things called microplastics. The amount of plastic entering the ocean every single year is measured at a staggering amount of 15 million tons annually, which breaks down to 1 dump truck every minute or 1 ton every 4 seconds. Plastics are problematic in the ocean because it chokes marine mammals, it enters the digestive tracts of fish and birds, and it still also poses unknown health risks to humans and animals alike. You may have heard of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, which is essentially a plastic landfill floating out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. But what not many people have heard of is that there are actually 5 of these garbage patches throughout the world. These garbage patches are actually swirling gyres created by ocean currents, and they've become filled with plastic debris, and as the debris is carried throughout the currents, they're then deposited into the middle of these gyres, essentially creating a plastic landfill. Many picture these garbage patches to be filled with things like plastic bottles and plastic straws, but in reality, it's actually the microplastics that are the problem. Plastic doesn't biodegrade, so microplastics are the end-of-life stage of pieces of plastic. Essentially, they're breaking down into small pieces, making it incredibly difficult to clean up. Microplastics are getting so small that they're being found in the gut and tissue of nearly every living thing examined by researchers. It's easy for a lot of people to know about and talk about the plastic pollution problem in the ocean, and that is because it's something that we can actually see. But there is an even bigger problem that the ocean's facing today. Carbon emissions are not only causing problems on land and in the atmosphere, but they're also wreaking havoc below the surface of the water. When you think of an ecosystem that captures carbon, a lot of people might think of the rainforest, but in reality, the ocean captures 30% of the carbon before it enters the atmosphere, as opposed to the 25% captured by rainforests worldwide. The ocean is also absorbing up to 93% of the world's excess heat that's been created by climate change. The ocean has essentially been our protector for a long time, and it wasn't until recently that we've discovered how much heat the ocean is actually protecting us from. If it weren't for our big blue friend, everybody above the water would be experiencing much more dramatic and rapid effects of climate change. So what is carbon doing to the ocean anyway? Well, in short, a lot. Some of the worst impacts include ocean acidification, marine heat waves, and ocean deoxygenation. So let's start with ocean acidification. What is it? Essentially, we have changed the pH of our entire ocean. As CO2 levels rise in the ocean, pH levels decrease. This affects the building blocks of shell growth and coral skeletal development. It even impairs the abilities of some fish to be able to detect nearby predators. Next, we have marine heat waves, and just like on land, marine heat waves are a natural occurrence. However, the increased CO2 levels means that these heat waves are becoming more intense and lasting a lot longer. These longer heat waves are leading to what's called thermal displacement, which is essentially where species flee from their natural habitat to areas where there's more desirable temperatures. It's also causing damage to things like coral reefs, seagrasses, and kelp forests, where many important species call home. And then we move on to deoxygenation, and believe it or not, a lot of marine species still rely on oxygen to breathe. This has been happening due to warming waters. As water temperature increases, the amount of oxygen available in the water decreases. As a response, marine species have been fleeing their habitats for this reason as well, and for some species, they've been pushed closer to the surface, making them easy prey. So right about now, you might be feeling a little bit bummed out, and maybe even have a little hope about the ocean's recovery. But it's not time to wave your white flag just yet. According to an IPCC report written by hundreds of scientists worldwide, there's still hope. According to their latest report, not only do we have the ability to prevent the worst from happening to the ocean, but we also have the ability to reverse what's already happened. So what can we do? Well, it starts with addressing climate change, and also with stopping destructive human behaviors. We should also be reaching out to our current legislators to tell them how important it is to us that we protect the ocean, as well as the environment, and address climate change.
Some things you can do on a day-to-day basis can include reducing your waste, cutting back your water consumption, eliminating plastic use, opting for sustainable seafood options, pairing before replacing, volunteering for beach cleanups, opt for ecotourism options while vacationing. Most importantly, educate yourself and spend time outdoors.
You don't need to work in science or climate-related fields in order to help. There's other ways that people from other areas can help too. Artists can create artwork that displays what's happening with the ocean and inspire change. Writers can write stories or poetry to expose what's happening to the ocean and inspire other people. Politicians can work with diverse and indigenous communities to develop legislation that helps protect the ocean and develop climate policy. Business owners can look at ways to make their businesses more sustainable and even set targets to become carbon neutral or even net zero. People in gender studies can look at how climate change affects people of different genders, what it means to include other genders in climate discussion, as well as improving the lives of women in order to fight climate change. Social media managers can use their platforms to inspire and educate others to make positive changes. Psychologists can create treatment plans to address eco-anxiety and also to help those who suffer from PTSD as a result of climate-related disasters. Or even musicians can write songs to encourage climate action and tell the stories of people who've been affected by climate change. What it boils down to is climate change and how it affects the ocean is a diverse problem, and we desperately need a diverse array of solutions. And while these smaller actions collectively lead to great impacts, actions on a larger scale are absolutely necessary. First and foremost, we should be voting for politicians who support climate legislation and ocean protections. Also, many larger corporations have been turning to a tactic where they make us, the individual, feel responsible for addressing climate change. And this is why it's extremely important that we hold corporations accountable for doing their part to fix the problem. For instance, if BP switched gears and they decided to work with renewable energy as opposed to oil extraction, imagine how much this world would benefit if one company alone switched their behavior. Saving the ocean is going to be difficult, but it's not impossible. And it's important because the ocean provides so many resources that not only humans, but the entire world depends on. For more references, see this list, and let me know in the comments below what you want to do to help save the ocean.